I'm going to preview the Baylor at Houston women's soccer game, and that game will be played on October 23rd at 7 p.m. Central Time on ESPN Plus, or there's live stats as well. And I'm going to go over both records for both of these teams here before the start of the preview here. Houston is 8-7-2 overall, but 2-6-1 in the Big 12. While Baylor, on the other hand, is 8-6-3 overall, 3-4-2 in the Big 12. They both have identical record, nearly identical overall records, but one's clearly better in the Big 12 than the other. But I would say Houston is probably more an adjustment period, but they are a scrappy team. They are scrappy. And I'm going to go over the standings real fast as well. Okay, Texas Tech is 7-0-2 overall, 13-0-4 and 7-0-2 in the Big 12, 13-0-4 overall. BYU 6-0-3 in the Big 12, 13-1-3 overall. TCU 6-1-2 in the Big 12, 10-4-3 overall. Texas is 5-3-1 in the Big 12, 11-4-2 overall. UCF is 5-3-1 in the Big 12, 9-5-1 overall. West Virginia is 5-3-1 in the Big 12. Oklahoma State is 4-5 in the Big 12, 11-7 overall. But by the way, the overall record for West Virginia is 7-7-3. So just an FYI on that. Baylor's 3-4-2 in the Big 12, like I said, 3 overall. Oklahoma is 3-4-2 in the Big 12 as well, 7-8-2 overall. Cincinnati is 2-3-4 in the Big 12, 3-7-6 overall. Iowa State is 3-6 in the Big 12, 6-10-1 overall. Houston is, like I said, 2-6-1 in the Big 12, 8-7-2 overall. Kansas State 1-7-1 in the Big 12, 3-11-3 overall. Kansas 0-7-2 in the Big 12, and 3-8-6. So that's going over that real fast. And now I'm going to say that Houston is, like I said, it's a scrappy team. And they did defeat West Virginia, like I said. So, and granted, I do not know what formation they're going to use, because they have used a bunch of formations like a 4-3-3, a 3-3-4, 2-4-4, 2-5-3, 3-5-2, 3-4-3. Which I'm going to go over what they used last game, but after I go over the numbers here. Obviously, their starting goalie for the most of the year is Olivia Dietrich, number 1, 5'8" goalie that's a sophomore, 24 goals allowed and 73 saves. I'm only going to mention this player because of the one goal this year is Ramsey Davis, number 3, 5'3", and 9-inch forward. That's a junior, 1 goal, 12 shots attempted. Alexis Fox, Lkes. I apologize for mispronouncing. 5'6" midfielder. That's a junior, 1 goal and 5 shots attempted and 1 assist. Nadia Kemasab, Kmassab. I apologize for mispronouncing. Number 7, 5'3" forward. That's a senior, 4 goals on 16 shots attempted. Juliet Moore, number 10, 5'6" midfielder. That's a junior, 1 goal on 11 shots attempted and 5 assists. Kaylin Matthews, number 11, 5'6" midfielder. That's a junior, 3 goals on 25 shots attempted and 4 assists. Now, Kirsten Kaiser, Kyrstenkizer, for both first name and last name here. Number 13, 5'6" forward. That's a freshman. 3 goals on 11 shots attempted and 3 assists. Arena Jemison is obviously another player to keep an eye on. Number 17, 5'3" midfielder. That's a freshman. 5 goals on 19 shots attempted and 3 assists. So they do have a lot of some players with more than 2 goals this year. Maddie Bowers, number 18, 5'8" forward. That's a junior. 3 goals on 9 shots attempted and 1 assist. But Cameron Maddox is the leading goal scorer for the year easily. I mean, number 26, 5'3" forward. That's a sophomore, 7 goals on 37 shots attempted and 2 assists. Sophia Weber, number 27, 5'7" defender as a junior, 2 goals on 4 shots attempted and 2 assists. Allie Bird, number 30, 6'1" forward as a senior, 3 goals on 24 shots attempted and 1 assist. And there's only going to be like 2 more players I'm going to mention, only because they scored this year. Is Talia Fegan, number 25'4" midfielder. That's a freshman, 1 goal on 3 shots attempted and 1 assist. And Jaden Masters, number 21, 5'6" midfielder. That's a junior, 1 goal on 14 shots attempted and 1 assist. I'm going to say this up front. You got to be careful with Houston. They are scrappy, like I said. They beat West Virginia. But I know they're going to say the same thing about us because we beat UCF at UCF. Obviously, a tie with Houston would automatically get us into the Big 12 tournament. But, of course, a win is more preferable, especially if you want to give yourself a downside shot at making NCAAs, which now we're in like an RPI in the 90s. It's very unlikely unless we need to first get to the Big 12 tournament, then try to win the Big 12 tournament, which I know is not going to be easy. Because like I said, look at the standings. And not only that, right now, the highest seed we could get with the win and with all the scenarios out there, which I'll go over that in a second, is possibly like 7th place. But as for this game, you got to be better than last game and not foul in the box. That's why TCU scored, is because of foul in the box, which led to a penalty kick, which we know penalty kicks are hard to stop. But if you're in that situation, you got to hope for a stop or get a stop if possible. But I know that's very, very hard to do because it's just a guessing game in penalty kicks. So we don't want a foul in the box or a handball in the box defensively. And you got to be really good on 1v1 situations. And you got to expect Houston is going to be fired up, especially after they took a 6-1 loss to Texas. And they surely don't want to lose like that again. I mean, I'm just telling the truth. You got to have more shots than last game. You got outshot big time against TCU when you look at the stats for last game. You got to have more corner kicks. I mean, you got to take some more chances and not be so timid with the ball. Of course, I know you don't want to just take shots just to take shots, like some bad shots just to take bad shots. But, I mean, you got to do something. You got to win the ball control a lot better. And after that 1-0 deficit, we fought hard the rest of the game. We just didn't score. And, of course, you need to execute your set pieces offensively and try to score on a corner kick if possible. I mean, that's the truth if you can. Of course, and same thing goes for a free kick and just set up something unless it's shooting distance, but on the opposite side of the field. But that's besides the point. I would also say try to take away the Houston strengths away and exploit their weaknesses. You got to not just win the first ball. When the ball is a 50-50 in the air, you got to win the second one as well. And potentially like the third, if there is a third. And try to set it down and take a shot. And I know for a fact that this team is 100% healthy going into this. I believe they are. So that's huge. And you got to come out with a little bit of a pep in your step to match the energy of Houston in this game. Because look, Houston right now, they're in danger of missing the Big 12 tournament. The only way they're going to get in is a win over us. And even then, they would have to rely on other teams like Cincinnati and Iowa State to lose. Honestly, Kansas State, they're done. No matter what. After, like on October 23rd. I'm just telling you the truth. When you look at the standings, like I said, because a win is worth 3 points, a tie is worth 1, and a loss is worth 0. Well, I mean, it is what it is, but thank goodness BYU beat Oklahoma for us last night. Thank goodness. Because that kept Oklahoma from jumping us in the standings. Because right now, when I read the standings right there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Yeah, we would be tied for 8th in a conference right now. Yeah. We're not really truly in the team that's more in danger of missing the Big 12 tournament is Cincinnati, to be honest. Because look, Cincinnati plays West Virginia at West Virginia. Even if they get a draw, I mean that's the kicker in all this. And UCF does play BYU. That doesn't really affect us. Because, I mean, in terms of teams behind us or anything, or like even think about moving up, because the only way we're going to move up, there's only like truly one spot we can really move up. I mean, with a win over Houston and an Oklahoma State loss to Oklahoma, then it would be a tie for 7th, and then it becomes a debate who's going to be the number 17. I mean, that's the truth. And overall, like, the winning percentage would be higher. If Oklahoma and Baylor were to win, they would obviously have a higher winning percentage than Oklahoma State. But then I don't know how they're going to deal with tiebreakers, because both of those teams have not played each other in the regular season in the Big 12 this year. But I know they have in the preseason. And Baylor won that game 3-2. You got to be solid defensively. And, of course, you don't want to allow, like what happened against Cincinnati on basically on at least one of those goals, if not 2, for Cincinnati. A free kick to occur, and then they score. You can't let that call affect you, and you got to play solid defense and not allow that one call to give them a goal, all because of a foul, questionable foul. And I know the officials are inconsistent, but you got to not let the officials dictate the game here. I mean, I'm just telling the truth. And leave no doubt in this game against Houston. This is a winnable game. Because, look, Houston is not as good as TCU. They're not as good as Cincinnati. Though, granted, I know we have a tie with Cincinnati and a tie with Kansas, which was a questionable tie. And I'm sure if we would have won that game against Kansas or Cincinnati, we would be in a lot better position to avoid the 7 versus 10 matchup potentially, or 8 versus 9. I know it. Especially in that Cincinnati game, because if we would have won that game, we could have been tied for 5th. Yeah, there was no way we're going to get out of that 7th place spot at the best. That's the best we could go, is 7th with the win. But even then, it requires Oklahoma State to lose or tie with Oklahoma, which obviously we need. And like Kansas State at Kansas doesn't really affect us, because neither team is going to make the Big 12 tournament, so that's out of the way. But Texas Tech plays Iowa State. I don't want to solely rely on teams losing or getting a draw to get in the Big 12 tournament. I'm just telling the truth. Obviously, an Iowa State draw or a loss means we're in for sure in the Big 12 tournament, unlike a year ago. But I do not want to rely on other teams doing us a favor. It would be huge if Texas Tech would beat Cincinnati, or at least tie with them, which they're the best team in the Big 12. They ought to win, but then again, BYU tied with Cincinnati. I mean, that's the truth. And it doesn't really affect us on TCU at Texas. It really doesn't. Not really. So, it's more like who's going to determine. Yeah, even if Texas were to win that game, they're not going to have enough points to catch up. To be no higher than 4th. So, yeah. That's probably. Not really a meaningless game. It's meaningful for TCU in case they get a win. Let's be clear. If they get a win, they get up to 23 points. But then, obviously, Texas Tech, if they have a draw with Iowa State, and BYU, let's just say, wins against UCF, and that's in Provo, by the way, then it becomes a tie for first place in the conference. So, yeah, the only way we're going to move up is to have Oklahoma State lose to Oklahoma, which might happen. Both teams are about the same level. I mean, Oklahoma State's like I said, 4-5 in the Big 12, and that's Oklahoma State 4-5 in the Big 12, and Oklahoma's 3-4-2. Yeah, it would be helpful if Oklahoma, but either way, as long as we get a tie, we're definitely in the Big 12 tournament, unlike a year ago. But I know we all want to prefer to win, and that's what I want. If you could run up the score in this game, like not just win by 1-0 either. Try to leave no doubt in the game, and don't allow Houston have a chance to get themselves a shot to make the Big 12 tournament. Because the only way they're going to get in is a win. And even then, it might not be enough. Because what if, like I said, Cincinnati were to win and Iowa State were to win, which I don't know about Iowa State winning over Texas Tech, but strange things happen. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, BYU in a non-conference lost to a 2-win Utah State team. 1-0. So, I'm just saying, we don't need to rely on other teams to get in the Big 12 tournament. Let's go out there and leave no doubt and try to get in the Big 12 tournament ourselves with a victory. For sure, a victory means, or even a tie, we should be in the Big 12 because there's no way that Iowa State would pass us. They wouldn't. Obviously, if we were to lose as Houston, that would really hurt because if Iowa State were to win and Oklahoma were to win and Cincinnati were to win, we might be out of the Big 12 tournament. But that's the very extreme form of it. This is why let's just go out there and take the frustration of the last two games. And I'm sure the coaching staff has addressed this. Take the frustration of the last two games and put it on Houston. I mean, that's the truth. And you gotta have your goalie step up as well. Not try to punch the ball out. And of course, if there's a situation, do not turn the ball over in your own end. And make Houston be the team that turns the ball over in their own end. And we just gotta come out focused from the start. And I know I gotta try to take away forget the last two games, but obviously you gotta learn from the last two games here because you didn't get a win in either of those games. And apply it to this game right here. Because, look, this is a chance to solidify that you will be in a Big 12 tournament this year, unlike a year ago. And let's go out there, leave no doubt, and win the game. And don't rely on a tie by Iowa State or even a loss by Iowa State or even a loss or a tie for Cincinnati or even a loss for Oklahoma and all this. Let's go out there, leave no doubt, and win the game. Because the last thing you want to do is to rely on teams to lose. Because we need to help ourselves more important than anything else. But obviously, I know we really are trying to keep... I'm pretty sure the team knows what the standings are and what this next game means. But they have to just go out there, give what they got, and let's try to get a win as possible. So anyways, if you like this content, like and subscribe button. See you guys later on the road to 600 subscribers. Of course, the ultimate goal is 1,000 or more so we can make money off this. Of course, liking the video, watching the video, commenting on the video really helps the YouTube algorithm so more people can see it. And I know for a fact that the only way we're going to get to the bit, obviously, in order to make the NCAA tournament at this point, because the RPI right now is like number 95 in the country. Yeah, we're not going to get in. But first things first, we got to give ourselves a shot to make the Big 12 tournament first. Because if we don't make the Big 12 tournament, obviously, we're done for the season. I'm just telling the truth, and we need to find a way to get a draw or a win here. This is a very winnable game. And we got to go out there if we're up 2-0 by half, if possible, or try to leave no doubt. And you got to match the scrappiness of Houston. And it can't be out physical during the game. I know it. You just can't. Let's go out there, leave no doubt, and win the game without the officiating. Try to help us. Because I don't want to rely on officials calling the game right. You can't play the ref. You got to play the game, not the ref. And obviously, if there was a handball or a foul in the box on Houston, on their defending side of the field, we got to take advantage of penalty kicks. Of course, that's the truth. Anyway, so like I said, thanks for watching the video, and have a great Tuesday, y'all.